Hello and welcome to another video. Now I'm often asked how I get maps into Fantasy Grounds for modules, etc. So I'm going to show you how that process works. This isn't going to be for everybody, maybe some developers, but anyway, this is the process and how we would get a map into Fantasy Grounds in its current form. So we're going to be mainly working with Photoshop here, and we've got a map already loaded into Photoshop. And this is the file that we would get from the publisher, Wizards of the Coast in this case. And you can see down here we've got all the layers of the map. This is a PSD file. So we've got the map layers, we've got all the various uh, room numbers and the compass and the title of the map, etc. We've got a grid, we've got a base and a background, and some other bits and pieces. So what we want to do is we want to create a map here from this. We want to create a player's view and a DM view, and we can do this by manipulating these layers before we export. So if we wanted the player's map, we can just switch off this labels layer, and we could export it at this stage, but I would also like to switch off the grid because in this map, each grid square is 10 feet, and I want a 5-foot grid on the map eventually. So I don't want to have to try and line up a grid with the existing grid on the map. I can switch it off and it has a gridless map, and therefore gives me much more freedom to put on a Fantasy Grounds VTT grid. Before I export, I want to come into image here and just check the image size. If we change this to pixels, we can see it's 1200 by 1500, so that's well within the Fantasy Grounds suggested limits, so we're happy with that. And the other thing that we want to do is come into image again and go to mode and make sure that the map is in RGB color. Otherwise, we won't be able to export this as a WebP file, and we want to export as a WebP file because that's going to take up far less room and much less memory if we do so. I mean, if you notice there, when we went into the image size, see that currently the map is 5.15 megabytes. That's because it's a PSD file. Right, so we're ready to export now. So we're going to go to File, and we're just going to go to Save a copy. If we come down at the bottom here of the list, we see the WebP is now available, which it wouldn't have been if it had been other than RGB. I'm going to go to our Fantasy Grounds campaigns, videos, images, and then we're just going to give it a name, whatever name you want to give it, and then we're going to save it. We get this option here. We can reduce the quality, which will reduce the image size, etc. But this one's fine, so I'm just going to leave that as it is and click OK. And our map has now been saved. So now we want to do the same thing, but this time we just want the DM information on the map. So we're going to switch the labels back on. We're going to take off this layer here. We're going to take off the base layer, and we're going to switch off the background as well. And this is going to give us basically a transparent map with just the room numbers on it and this information here down at the bottom. We're happy with that. So again, we're going to go into File, going to go to Save as a Copy, going to select WebP again. We're going to go back up to our Fantasy Grounds folder, videos, images, and then we're just going to give this one a name. DM layer will do fine, and then we're just going to save that and OK that as well. So that's us. We are done with Photoshop. We can go into Fantasy Grounds. We can go to Assets. We can go to the Refresh Folder Assets here, and in the campaign, we now have the two maps that we just saved in there. So we can open up the first one, which is just called a map, and we're going to create a map record from that. And you can see that here we've got our map, as we exported it straight out of Fantasy Grounds. It's a WebP thing. Now if we go to our Fantasy Grounds campaigns, videos and images folder and mouse over that, we can see that the image size is now just 954 kilobytes, whereas it was over 500 megabytes when it was inside. So we've reduced the size of the map to a much more reasonable level. Okay, so we've got the player map. So as it stands, if we shared this map, this is what the players would see. It's also what the DM would see as well, which is not hugely helpful to the DM. So we want to get the DM layer onto the map. So here we have it here, and we're just going to drag this and drop it onto the map, and it's going to automatically create the DM layer. We need to go in and move this so that it's square with the underlying map, and that's fine. Everything is gone in. We can use I think it's control. Yes, if we hold down control and use the arrow keys, we can sort of move this layer a sort of pixel at a time. If we want to, if it needs to be done a bit more accurately. But other than that, we now have our map. And the first thing that I would always do would be to add a grid to the map. So if we come to the grid here, now remember we switched the grid off, and the scale of this map is 1 square equal to 10 feet. So this room here was 2 squares wide, so we're going to need 4 squares. So probably a grid width of 10 feet is going to be, or 50 is going to be too big. So we're going to switch on the grid first of all, and you can see that there is a default grid here. As in all maps, there's always a default grid, but this is too big. So let's take it down to about 30. And this looks a bit more reasonable. We can move the grid around till we get something that's to our liking. If we look up here, we can see that it's still slightly out. So let's change it to 30.5. And then we can move it about a bit until we are happy that the grid is, and that's probably pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. If we look around, the walls are lining up and all that kind of thing. So we're happy with that. Now the grid is a bit obtrusive and the way it is, so we're going to come in here to the tint, the color picker here, and down at the bottom we've got the alpha channel, and we're going to drag this down. And as you drag this down, I mean, we've got no grid at all. It's invisible virtually, to right up to there to being very visible. So if we drag this down to, let's say, 56, the grid is still just about visible, but it's not obtrusive, and it's not destroying the look of the map. So we'll click OK with that. So that's essentially how we would get a map into Fantasy Grounds with the grid. Oh, one more thing. The DM layer, of course, we need to click on this Share with Players button till it's grayed out until it reads GM only. And this is the visibility button, so we can switch this layer off if we want, if we're the DM. But that's important that we switch this, we grey this button out so that only the GM can see this particular layer. So when we share this map, this is what the players are going to see, and this is what the DM will see. Okay, right, I think that's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers for now.